Hello, it's me. So, the new Crusades. So, before I say anything else, tinfoil hat time. Yes, it's tinfoil hat time again. I, some weeks ago, watched the Charlie Kirk memorial. And I've made a video about Charlie Kirk's assassination, as I think it was, really. As I said, tinfoil hat time. And as I was watching the Charlie Kirk memorial, I was both moved and terrified. Would that be a strong enough word? Is it too strong? Terrified for the future. Why, I hear you ask? Well, I think, just my opinion, allegedly of course, that I can see something being born. And the new bastard child on the block is in fact a brand new Christian Judeo crusade. That sounds absurd to say it. Have a look at this screen for a moment. There you go. So if you look at that, you'll see that there's no shortage of information regarding the death of Charlie Kirk and the fact that much of what is going on there doesn't seem to make much sense. You expect a certain amount of madness during the death of somebody in public. But when that madness stretches incredulity to its limits, eyebrows start to be raised. Let me just adjust myself slightly. And eyebrows are being raised. Much is not correct, it seems, about the circumstances in the immediate aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death or assassination, depending on your point of view. And the biggest thing is when you start to look into this, because I'm just naturally kind of suspicious anyway, I think. And, I look up there at my UFO books, and that subject leads you down so many rabbit holes that it's a real treat. But it is also, as I said when I opened up the video, quite terrifying. Because if the governments of the respective countries of the planet have done half of the things that some of these books and related topics allege, then we have lived in some very, very dark times. And most people are none the wiser. So around the Charlie Kirk death, we see all kinds of little anomalies popping up. And the thing that made me think something wasn't right was the story of the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death and the witnesses coming forward on the news and the various bystanders who were all filming, by the way, started filming unusual things. Do look into it if you're interested. It starts to sound like the JFK assassination. It has the same feel about it. Now, what's that got to do with the Jerusalem cross? I hear you ask. What's that got to do with the Jerusalem cross? Well, the Jerusalem cross, as per my search term here, historical examples of the Jerusalem cross, is closely associated with the Crusades, where Christendom in medieval times basically went over and caused a lot of trouble in the Arab lands. It was a bloodbath. So, what's that got to do with Charlie Kirk, I hear you ask? Charlie Kirk built an organization called Turning Point USA. And it's a right-wing Christian organization. And I think I can say right-wing fairly. I'm not saying extreme right-wing or anything. No. Now, a lot of vilification was leveled at Charlie Kirk. Racist, misogynist, any number of, slurs. But he did, as I've said previously, what very few other people were willing to do. And he put himself out there to debate these points. Who knows if he hadn't been killed or, by whomever, who knows where he could have ended up. And that's why I think he was killed. If you look at Candace Owens, who was a friend of Charlie Kirk's, who knew him, who talked on the Turning Point USA tours, so she was like in a position to know, he was losing, he was questioning his support of Israel. Now, that in some ways is a separate question. But Israel's intelligence services, and I go on a lot about intelligence services, and Mossad, who, quite frankly, are proud of their dirty tricks campaigns. Unlike most intelligence services who keep them like really hidden, Mossad are like, it might be in us. So, if it was Israel that killed him, and again, this is just intelligence service stuff. I've got no, axe to grind with Israel. This is just an observation. If they did, why would they do it? Because Turning Point USA had become big. Not only had it become big, it had become influential. And not only had it become influential, it became, how can I put it, religiously reactive. Now, this isn't a surprise. That's what it was meant to do. It was meant to bring the Christian faith back into America, because the modern world, to a religious heart, to a religious mind, seems entirely lost. The problem, I think, that I had with Charlie Kirk was he placed too much emphasis on it. I came from a Roman Catholic family, and for me, all I saw as a very young man was that organised religion of any kind becomes somehow corrupted. And nothing that's happened in history as I've looked at it has changed my mind. My belief has just been reinforced. So Turning Point USA was ripe for corruption. So let's say that this kid who's supposed to have shot him did shoot him. Well, it's been massively fortuitous because Charlie Kirk's personal alignments, as far as Candace Owens was concerned, were changing. People who thought they could count on Charlie Kirk, and by extension Turning Point USA, may not have been able to any longer. So having him out of the way would leave Turning Point USA to be steered in whichever direction those who were doing the steering wanted to go. And this is the convergence that I see. Charlie Kirk out of the picture, Turning Point USA, a powerful religious right-wing movement. The fact that we're hearing now more and more people like Benjamin Netanyahu and people in the Senate using the phrase Christian Romano, Judeo, complicity, movement. That's what I want to say, movement. Judeo-Christian movement. And of course, where is the big conflict across the planet? What is the big conflict across the planet other than, quite obviously the whole Russia-NATO thing, which, it should never have happened. Well, it's Christians against Arabs. Arabs against Jews. So I think, personally, for what it's worth, that the USA and Israel are laying the foundations for the new Crusades. And that's what I think. When I watched the Charlie Kirk memorial, there were people who were displaying real emotion, real sorrow. Of course they were. People loved Charlie Kirk. It's obvious. But there was another side to what was being said. And it felt to me more like fist-pumping religious extremism. Put on the armor of God. Holy warriors. Terms like that were being used. And they were being used with such conviction, such zeal, that it just struck me, oh, this is where we're going. This is the future of the planet for the next 100 years. Do you know what? I wish everyone would just chill out, frankly. Could we just stop killing each other? Please? That would be really cool. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe and share if you'd like to. And until next time, this is me signing off. Please. please do look after yourselves.